Hi you guys, my name is Steven. I'd like to welcome you back to my calibration channel. I'd also like to welcome back Maddie and Carl, my two stand-up comedians. First thing I want to do is dedicate this video to Allergan. Allergan is a medium-sized pharma that's based in Ireland, but they do a ton of business in the US. You may recognize them as the purveyors of Botox. Recently, Allergan suffered what seems like a setback in the US Supreme Court. Now, what happened? Allergan had developed a patented drug to help with age-related eye disease. It wasn't a blockbuster, but it was doing very well. It was selling around $1 billion a year. What often happens in these cases is what happened here. Other drug manufacturers recognize that they can produce a generic equivalent to Allergan's patented drug, sell in the same market, and take money away from them. Now, what patent holders have done in the past in this case is go straight to the generic manufacturer and say, look, we know what you're trying to do. In about 6 months to a year, you're going to have a product on the market that's going to take money away from us. Why don't you take a payment of $100 or maybe $200 million and just push your plans back for 24 months and then let the chips fall where they may. Now, instead of doing this, which other manufacturers have done, Allergan did something unique. They found a tribe of Native Americans, the St. Regis Mohawks. They went to them and said, look, here's 15 million bucks. You have sovereign immunity. We're going to give you our patents, and you're going to give them right back to us for 15 million bucks and an annual fee of some sort. That's what happened. Took a couple years, but the Supreme Court just ruled on this situation a few weeks ago. They said, yes, Native American tribes do have sovereign immunity. It does not apply in patent situations. Allergan, you're out of luck. Now, did Allergan win or did they lose? Other pharmas might have spent $100 or $200 million to achieve the same thing Allergan got for only 15 million bucks, and that is to totally gum up the patent protection system. Now, other observers might say they made an entire joke out of the patent protection system. That's what inspired me to make this video. I've created a joke about this situation. I'm also going to do something I've never done before, which is crowdsourcing. I have a great opening line, it's a classic. I have a great backstory, but I don't have a punchline, and I'm hoping you guys are going to help me. Here's what I've got so far. The entire populations of India and China walk into a bar together. They flip a coin to see who's going to buy the first round. India loses. So India orders 2.7 billion drinks to be delivered to this very large table in this very, very large bar. Now, instead of years of chaos ensuing, things settle down very rapidly, and there's a reason for that. It's because India and China knew beforehand they wanted to get together to discuss a serious business proposition that was in the air. So that's what they did. Here's what they said to each other. Look, we don't like each other. We don't share the same languages. We don't share the same cultures. We don't even share the same history, except for the fact that Great Britain colonized both of us one way or another. So on most things, we're going to continue to disagree, sometimes violently. However, there is one situation that confronts us both, upon which we can form a strategic alliance. There's two aspects to our situation that we share. One is, Western farmers persist in developing drugs that we cannot ever possibly afford. And in addition, they're confronting situations that have nothing to do with the way we live our lives and the health problems we confront. So it's not as if we're falling further and further behind here. As far as Western farmers are concerned, the people sitting at this table don't even exist. There's another common aspect here, the internet. Even with our efforts to throttle or control access of our citizens to the internet, it's pretty clear long term that effort is going to fail. Consequently, our citizens are going to have their nose rubbed in the fact that there are health solutions available to people in the world that they can never possibly afford. Now, people being people, there's probably going to be some resulting unrest or dissatisfaction, maybe even some political violence. Now, if our governments were very stupid, which they're not, they'd say, look, you guys, your problem is with Western pharmas. Go after them and leave us alone. Instead, what we're going to do is unite to create a completely new global model and make things work for us for a change by being proactive and getting ahead of this situation. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to ditch all patents and copyrights that form the slightest barrier to us developing our own products for our own citizens. We're going to ignore all patents. We're going to ignore patent laws and patent practice and agreements. We're also going to reverse engineer any product we think might be of the slightest help in us achieving our goals, whether it's patented or not. If you guys think we can't do that, you need to think again. In addition, we're going to introduce incentives to reverse the brain drain we're seeing here. Some of our best computer scientists, some of our best biologists are going to the West to support Western efforts to create this structure. Our incentives are going to be so good, we're going to pull those people right back to us. And they're going to be so good, they're going to drag some Western scientists back with them to work on this crusade. Now, what about pricing structure? We know that's one of the weaknesses of the Western model. We know that all humans share a curious trait. They don't value anything that's given to them for free. They just don't appreciate it. So we're going to institute a sliding scale price structure to everything we produce. That means people are going to pay what they can afford. Now, we know a lot of the people sitting at this table have no cash at all. They may be getting by on $1 or $2 a day. So even a cheap nominal price for our drugs is going to be out of their reach. Here's what we're going to do instead. We're going to say, look, we just saved your life with this drug that we've produced together, or we've greatly improved your quality of life. Here's what we want instead of cash. We want you to commit to give us 500 or 1,000 hours to work on infrastructure problems in your neighborhood over the next 5 years. That way, we're not going to force you to hop on a train and go to some other city to pay off this debt. You can work it off working on stuff that you and your neighbors live with every single day. And we have the troops necessary to make sure you keep your end of the bargain. Now, speaking of prices, we could very easily end up selling our products right back to the poor people in the Western nations who are no better served by this situation than our people are sitting at this table. We could even go one step further and steal a page right out of the Pharma ethical playbook. We could demand a cash payment from Western governments to either sell or not sell our products to their poor people to prevent the kinds of dissatisfactions and disruptions that we've had to put up with. Okay, now you've heard what I've got so far. It seems to me that applying just a little bit of system thinking shows us that oftentimes the structures we think of as very strong and very dependable are really often partly constructed of elements about which we've made unwarranted, even unspoken assumptions, or elements that we don't even consciously recognize. That's how jokes work, right? Humans have a wonderful trait. We will often laugh when comedians reveal to us the unspoken, unconscious assumptions we've made about a situation, even if that situation contains sad or even tragic elements. Now, is any of what I've said going to happen for sure? I have no idea. One thing I'm absolutely certain of, however, the pathway we took to get where we are today is not sustainable. It has to change. It's gonna change. One step you can do is help me by providing a punchline to this joke. Or give me topic suggestions for future videos. Or give me comments whether you agree with what I'm saying or not. In any case, I really appreciate the attention you're giving me, and I hope you'll come back for more. Thank you.